I think it's safe to say that the world is undergoing quite a lot of change at the moment. I mean, we are right in the eye of the storm here. The pendulum is actually swinging. And in this brief interim between the election results and Trump actually taking office, people are reflecting on the state of the moment. You know, people have questions. People are concerned about what's happening. Where do we go from here as a society? You know, are things about to get tangibly better for the average person, or is the all-encompassing culture war about to ratchet up multiple levels in intensity and in IRL terror and violence? Well, I think from the gamer's point of view, the isolationist Chud Gamer has been racking up W's over the last year or so. Especially now Elon Musk's X allows, and in a lot of cases boosts, these more moderate, conservative, anti-woke accounts. A lot of them, too, are fixated on gaming. Viral posts exposing a lot of fuckery going on within the industry. And really, it's just been a very different cultural environment. You know, the fact is, the censorship is nowhere near as bad as it was for moderate conservatives even a few years ago. Of course, Musk still suppresses a lot of far-right and dissident-right voices, which is a whole other story. I mean, he's kind of a hypocrite, claiming that X is offering true free speech. I mean, we're still more censored on modern X than we were on, like, 2015 YouTube. But despite this, you know, you gotta be pragmatic. Wokeism and far-left goonery cannot function without censorship. There needs to be this layer of speech suppression and cultural engineering. It has to happen, right? Because you can't institute these insane ideas without forcing people, coercing people, bullying people, right? So that is the nature of the far left, that absolute censure is actually a necessity. Especially so for this clown car of an industry and these terrible decisions being made, this absolute trash being released and pushed onto the gaming community at large, right? Dustborn, Dragon Age Veilguard, the new Assassin's Creed, Harriet Tubman is a leader in Civ 7, the new Druckmann joint starring an insanely unattractive Blasian. These woke products can't even be marketed effectively in an environment that doesn't contain the state-backed harassment architecture of absolute censorship. Just to level the playing field ever so slightly is a huge win. Even the normie sphere thinks that new Assassin's Creed looks fucking cringe, and Ubisoft are going out of business, you know? That's all it takes. In the sense that wokeism was always a paper tiger, and that all it took to overcome was simply to lose a little bit of favor within elite circles. What I'm trying to say is, wokeism is dead. Especially when it comes to gaming, although that might not be immediately obvious. The woke industry is like a zombie from Resident Evil 2 after Leon blows its head off with a magnum, you know? And it shambles forward a few more steps, but the threat is ultimately neutralized. The last few of these giant woke flops will really be the nail in the coffin for wokeism in video games. 30,000 unemployed developers since the beginning of 2023. Countless shuttered studios across the Western industry. A sense of suffocating dread of inevitable doom, darkening the minds of video game journalists everywhere, themselves lamenting the death of their own profession. The realization of their own irrelevance, crystallizing day by day, irreversible, as the horror of this new reality starts to sink in. Are we losing? It's like, yes, you're losing. You know, you lost the moment you made this pact, this short-sighted gambit to attain more social capital in exchange for your very soul. You know, this is what these people have done. They decided, you know what, I don't care about the truth. I don't care about what's right. I am going to ally myself with evil for power and for validation and to be part of the regime. You know, you become a regime apologist and then kick back and enjoy the perks that come with such a dubious position in society. Just make sure you pray that the regime never changes hands in such a way that you yourself would become exposed, outed as the agent provocateur, the traitor that you are. Well, the pendulum is actually swinging for real this time. You know, there's so many retards out there who allied themselves publicly with the woke regime, and they will be going down with the ship, whether they like it or not, as favor from this unelected US elite shifts from the left to the right. A center right, an establishment right. Okay, don't assume that I'm celebrating with the Ewoks Like the war is over, like it's time to go back to sleep, it's time to return to the 90s and forget about the culture war, forget about Gamergate, and climb back inside my mother's womb and live out the rest of my life in this innocent, numbed, narcotic haze. I mean, that's what they want you to do. As in they, the occulted elite, the Aldmeri Dominion, the Thalmor, whatever you want to call them. It's been very clear that this small yet incredibly powerful elite have been allied with the far left at the atomic philosophical level. They're behind the entire ideology of liberalism as a post-war consensus after World War II ended. And they're also behind neoconservatism, this Trotskyite form of post-Marxism, which has dominated the American right wing for the better part of a century. They are the architects of Clown World. They designed it, they've maintained it, they choose the direction in which the culture moves, they control the pendulum. That's real mind control. That's occultism in its truest sense. It's controlling the entire dialectic. You offer up choices to people, and they feel as if they're choosing. But if you control the fundamentals of either choice, then the person choosing ends up living in a world that you created, trapped inside a soul gem, a false reality where the bad guys were vanquished, the good guys won. Patriots are in control. There's no more need for vigilance. In fact, de-radicalization is necessary because we're in peacetime now, right? This is kind of what I'm seeing being discussed in MAGA conservative circles. It's that now that Trump has won, the punching right can begin. Voices on the dissident right and the far right who have been critical of Trump, critical of his highly Zionist administration, as in constructively critical, well, they will no longer be tolerated. Their speech will be suppressed in favor of a new, de-radicalized, yet anti-woke, socially conservative mainstream culture, the likes of which Elon embodies almost completely. He's a tech bro, basically a 90s liberal, a public Zionist with ties to the PayPal mafia and Peter Thiel, who have been very involved with the recent Trump campaign, to the point where J.D. Vance, the vice president, was handpicked by Thiel. Zuckerberg warming up to Trump, Bezos, Silicon Valley itself in soft alliance with the Trump campaign. Even before he won, the writing was on the wall that Trump, facing immense lawfare, criminal charges, prison time, had made a deal of sorts with the establishment, that the conditions were to be set that a Trump victory could be ensured. Now why? Why, after opposing him so vehemently for so many years, stealing the election in 2020, I don't give a fuck, they stole it. 20 million more votes appeared on the 2020 ballot than this time around. Where did those 20 million votes go? They didn't go to Trump. His count was relatively similar to 2020, slightly more, but still within the same ballpark. Where did those votes go? Did those 20 million people just cease to exist? No. Power shifted behind the scenes. October 7th, 2023. The cathedral began to invert. Could you feel it? Did you notice? The Democrats were sacrificed. Ritually. Biden was sacrificed. Wokeism, right now as a cultural force, is being sacrificed. Strategically. At multiple levels of our society. It has to happen now. What? That makes no sense? I'm huffing hopium? Look, this isn't hopium. That's the fucked up part about this particular video. This isn't hopium. Because there's an old elvish folktale about the golem, right? A monster created out of clay, a homunculus. A Frankenstein created by a sorcerer to commit acts of evil and to attain power. Well, as the story goes, the golem always turns on its creator eventually, right? That's the lesson. It's that to be careful when creating these monsters, lest they grow so powerful they end up destroying you. You have to sacrifice it at the right time. This is a monster that you created that has been murdering and eating villagers for years, so much so that their pitchforks are sharpened, their torches are lit. They're about to go full ham on anyone even remotely In possession of elven, sorcerer-esque physiognomy, well, just before shit hits the fan, you swoop in and you destroy the golem yourself. In spectacular fashion, then you turn to the villagers and you say, "Behold me, for I am your savior." And the villagers cheer. There's a few skeptic young men and wizened elders on the outskirts who question the sorcerer. They say, "We shouldn't trust this guy. This evil magician, he's not what he says he is. In fact, he's the one that created the golem. He's responsible for all the chaos and the havoc the golem caused." And the majority of the villagers turn around and they hang those guys. And so the new social paradigm begins, where one group is more suppressed, another group has more freedom. But ultimately, the sorcerer is still completely fine. He was thriving in the last paradigm, and he's going to thrive in this one. For the elves, this is business as usual. Now, there might be tangible gains for the average, chud plebeian under this new, mostly symbolically conservative American regime, the consequences of which will be felt in Europe and will be felt in the UK. Hopefully some positive consequences, maybe. The Overton window of acceptable public political rhetoric will, of course, widen to include praise of Trump, praise of the new regime, while shitlibs and wokeists alike will be shunned from the mainstream. They will become profoundly uncool. A new era of high-tech American neoconservatism, where various societal golems will be sacrificed. The trans movement will be sacrificed. Video games journalists are cooked. They have been cooked, They're in my fridge. I'm going to eat the leftovers tomorrow, right? That's how cooked they are. Enjoy this white pill. This is a white pill on the short term. It's a white pill if you don't care about the big picture, if you don't care about US demographics, if you don't care about the future of Europe, Western civilization, white people, okay, fine. But, video games might see some improvement, maybe, as the current cultural paradigm shift plays out. I anticipate many symbolic wins for the mainstream right, the center right. The James Lindsay right, the Elon right, whatever you want to call them, the right that doesn't criticize Israel, because there's a right wing that's mad at Israel and thinks Israel sucks. And then there's a far left that's mad at Israel and thinks Israel sucks. They're the golem. The far left is the golem. Why are they being sacrificed? Because they're attacking Israel. You're not supposed to attack Zionists if you're on the far left. You're supposed to attack white supremacy, American nationalism, Christianity, all of that. The stochastic terrorism of the previous regime, in its soft support of the far left, of Antifa, of politically motivated doxing, all of this is supposed to go in one direction. It's supposed to be directed towards the right, towards the America First nationalist. Those who are sincerely working to reform the system, they're the real threat. The average pro-Israel MAGA conservative or basic anti-woke gamer represent about as much threat as like a level 1 mud crab to this new establishment. And you're already seeing new language being thrown around, like woke right. Well, what is the woke right? They are the elements of the right wing that criticize elvish power and promote real nationalism. This is the faction on the right that would actually instigate real change and finally and completely dismantle the post-war consensus that has been stifling and choking Western civilization for the past 100 years, the true source of anti-whiteism, of anti-European bigotry, the Hydra's true head. And don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge you that joy of finally seeing the libtards smited again, because they deserve it. But the point is, the libtards are just puppets. They are a golem, just like the far left are golems. There is a puppet master controlling them. They would have no power without the puppet master. And what he's done is he's just cut their strings, snuck over to our side of the stage, and now he's expecting us to dance on the string. I mean, what say you, dissident gamer? What's your price? What would it take to de-radicalize you? Disney, Star Wars, decanonized? They're going to have to sacrifice something. This is an occult ritual. Like mimetic alchemy, one medium transfigured into another. It's the Link the Fire ending in Dark Souls, We're not creating something new. We're not entering a brave unknown. We're not righting any fundamental wrongs here. We're going back to like a George Bush era conservatism that's really just Zionism, dressed up in a safe, edgy, countercultural package. Iran will be fucking destroyed, just like Syria was just toppled, Assad. Ousted in humiliation, greater Israel. No longer just a rabbinical dream, but a tangible reality. The Middle East will belong to Zion. While Putin is pushed further and further to the brink, as the blood of the red heifer spills upon the floor of the rebuilt Third Temple, so too will the Messiah reveal himself. Not the false prophet Jesus Christ, but the true Messiah, Antichrist, who will usher in an age of elvish power and dominance the likes of which this world has never seen before, compelling you to make the last and final choice of your miserable existence, to accept the Noahide religion or to die. Okay, I get what you're saying, but is Halo gonna be good again?